What's going on, YouTube? My name is Venator, and in today's Deinosuchus adventure, we are continuing our run on Petits Pieds NA server, picking up where we left off last time in Highland Lake. So if you guys enjoy the video, please drop a like or comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any videos. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into the killing with a nice little Serato grab. As you can see, we're still full food from that Deinosuchus we killed. But unfortunately, my buddy Riley, he left Highland Lake. And so I'm here to fend for myself on my own for the time being. And I'll be completely honest. For the time I was here, Highland Lake was pretty dead. I wasn't having a ton of luck. I mean, after that Serato, I didn't really see anything else until this small Dilo drinking in the channel. And even after this Dilo, things really didn't improve. So at my first chance to leave the lake, I figured it was best to exit this area, especially seeing that I was solo. So after nightfall and during a nice thunderstorm, I figured it was time to make the walk, and instead of going back to water access, I wanted to head over to one of my favorite little spots, Top Pond, that I've already featured during this update, but wanted to go back because it is an excellent spot to kind of hang out as a solo. You're not, well, I shouldn't say not. You're more than likely not going to run into a duo in this pond because it's pretty hard to feed two big crocs here. But like I said last time I was in here, the elite fish will keep you fed indefinitely. As you can see, I hadn't gotten any kills until this Serato, but my hunger was nearly full. So you can basically survive in here off elite fish, and heck, if you're able to make it here as a small croc, probably wouldn't be too bad of a spot to grow. Just gotta watch out for those bigger guys that could venture into this area. And that night, I got this nice sized Tornado. And as you can see, this bush in the corner makes for the perfect hiding spot. You cannot be seen back here in this bush, and with the waterfall changes, and by that I mean the sound changes, things really don't hear you get in the water now. So it is literally the perfect spot. And this dibble, he had no idea what was lurking in the water. And then funny enough, while I was sitting in my spot, we had a baby Serato jump down to try and steal a bite from my little kill pile. I couldn't let that stand. And during my time here, the hunting was pretty good. Later that day, had a Carno come down for a quick drink. And the wonderful thing about this spot is people are so confident that there's not a croc here. They already have it determined in their head that they're coming up to drink, so there is most of the time no hesitation. And then, later, had a small little potato come up for a drink. Not even the juvies are safe here from the mighty Deinosuchus. But after grabbing this little dibble, it was time to head on out down to South Plains River, because my battle buddy Sniper Dude had made his way all the way up to the upper river, down below the really large waterfall. And like I showed you guys last time, there's no need to walk up and around over the bridge like you used to. You can just walk straight up the side of that little cliff and make your way on down to the river. And just like in the last update, for some reason, you still got to get up on land to group up. Not sure if that's a bug or if I'm doing something wrong, but if anybody knows how to fix that down below, please let me know. But after grouping up, Sniper and I weren't longing to stay in this area, so we made our way down to the lower river and then exited down into the lagoon area to make our way all the way back around swamps over to Delta. As you can see, my food is pretty low, so this is going to kind of be pushing it, but thankfully as a full prime, your hunger drops just really slow, so able to make it all the way around and hopefully find some food in Delta. And on our way out, we like to scout these little mangrove areas and see if we can catch anybody crossing between the islands, but unfortunately, no luck this time. So we just continued on our way all the way around swamps until we got over to the estuary to start our hunting, whether it be another pair of Deinosuchus or anything that we could snag off the shore. As 2 full primes, we are at our absolute peak strength. And things were pretty much dead quiet. We were on at full pop until, as we approached the bridge of death, Sniper caught a Kentro eating from a bush right next to the shore. This would definitely help our hunger problems. And after we filled up on the corpse, it was time to continue on our way under the bridge of death because we were going to head up to water access. Well, we were going to go check water access and then come back down and try and hunt the river in between water access and Delta. And as we were making our way up there, close to the big waterfall that you have to walk up and around, I spotted a small ceratosaurus drinking from the river's edge. In the same spot, I'd grabbed a very large rex in the past. Not sure why people want to risk drinking here. I imagine they probably have never gotten grabbed from this area. Just bad luck this time for that guy. And as we were making our walk up, the final stepping stone before you enter water access, something crazy and horrible happened. See how I dropped in the water right there just fine? Well, my buddy Sniper, for whatever reason, as you can see his name is there, the next time I turned around, his name was gone. And you're going to see his body right there, plop out of the air. I have no idea what happened. I mean, I was literally left dumbstruck, but for some reason, it killed him. The game Thanos snapped him out of existence and he lost his full Prime Dino, which is really unfortunate. And on Petits, there's nothing you can do about it. Petits does not compensate for game bugs, so really unfortunate situation. So I was back on my own. But luckily, I had a friend who was over on the west side of the map, so I logged back in the next day and was going to make my way over all the way back around the north side of the map to the mudflats area. But before I left, I ran into a fan, and so stopped to say hi and didn't kill him even though he had another croc in his jaws. But as I was making my way up to water access, I found this very large Rex corpse, which was perfect. This would fill me all the way back up to 100% food to allow me to easily and safely make the long swim from water access all the way back over to mudflats to meet up with my friend. And since I already showed this walk in my last video, I'm not going to show the entire thing this time, but it's basically the reverse of what you guys saw last week. So, under the cover of a thunderstorm, I I exited water access and made my little walk down to the ocean. As I was on my way, I came across a small little group of packies who observed and cheered me on as I made my way down to the ocean. And from there, the long swim all the way over to mudflats. But man, look at that sunset. With this new update, the visuals in this game just never cease to impress me. Like, that just looks phenomenal. And once I had entered the mudflat area, I met up with my boy Peep so we could do some hunting in the mangroves. As you can see, he's a little bit smaller. He had just recently hit Prime, and I think at this point was around the 9.5 ton mark. So not at peak strength, but still large enough that we can successfully hunt this area. And what is really great about this area, like I've already talked about last week, just the amount of things that try and cross and swim through here. I don't know how that guy didn't notice me. Probably because the herbivore night vision isn't the best. But for whatever reason, he was going to try and make the swim over to that little island. Always a risk in the mangroves, but now it's actually worth the risk because the swims are a lot shorter. Just unlucky if you happen to get caught, like this poor Kintro. And we tried using that Kintro as bait, but didn't get lucky. And so the next day, we found some carnos just outside the sanctuary that's over in this mangrove area. And like before, this guy tried to make the swim across. I'm not sure what he was doing. I think maybe he thought he could get around these and keep running. I don't know. But hey, I will take this food because, as you guys are going to see, it's going to come in handy here in a few minutes. But after that Carno, I guess maybe he was teamed up with this one, I'm not sure. But this guy just came running into the water, and I completely whiffed my grab. Luckily, I had my boy Pete behind me. He was able to clean it up. I thought maybe that this guy would want to end his life as well, so I started walking towards him. But I guess he wanted to live, so it was back into the water. And then, as we were making our way through the mangroves, I was worried more about what was above the water when I should have been focused on what was underneath. Because we came heads up with two other full Prime Deinosuchus. And luckily, my boy Peep was quick to chat and got these guys talking. But I could tell by the way they were acting that they really wanted to attack us. Most of the time, dinos will keep going by if they're going to be friendly. And the fact that these guys stopped and kind of blocked the way, I could tell that that wasn't going to happen. So I offered up the two carnos we had just killed, and then I told Peep we were getting the heck out of Dodge. I didn't waste any time, and we basically stam dumped out of this area on the bottom just to get out of these guys' path, because I wasn't going to hesitate and wait for them to change our mind. Two small carnos isn't really that much food for two full primes, and just how they were behaving in game, I could really tell that they were contemplating attacking us. So didn't waste any time, and Peep and I got out of there because at this point Peep was still under the 10.5 ton mark and didn't want to risk him getting grabbed, and then I would obviously go down right alongside him. So we made our way back up to kind of the northwest corner to make our walk over to West Rail Pond. And once we were in here, well, as you guys are going to see, things finally turned my way in hunting in this little area. I didn't have a whole lot of luck when we were in here growing this guy, but thankfully it turned around. As you can see, my hunger was getting pretty low, so I desperately needed it. And by that night, I was definitely under 20% food when this Tenno came up for a quick drink. In like Top Pond, West Rail Pond is also a great spawn for schooling fish and elite fish. Although I will admit the elite fish are a lot more spread out. Not sure what the cause of that is, but it seems like they spawn in waves. We would go an hour without seeing any fish, and then all of a sudden, they would just keep spawning one after the other, like right here. As you guys can see, my hunger was getting pretty low there, but after these 3 elite fish, it gets me well above half, and halfway hunger on a full prime is an hour. A full stomach as a full 13.5 ton dino lasts you for 2 hours. So anytime you're above half, you're sitting in a really good spot. But luckily for me, I didn't have to wait that long. Come daybreak, a nice large stego came up to the water. And from initial observation, I honestly thought that this guy was not grabbable. His tail spikes were pretty curvy, so it looked like he was prime. But I figured I didn't have anything to lose, so I went up and attempted to grab. And man, this guy, he had to have just hit prime. He was between 6 and 6.7 tons and just still in that grabbable range. But hey, I will take that any day. And then the next night, had a little Allosaurus come up to drink. And, well, just like in the days of old, people still think over there by that log is a safe spot to drink. And funny enough, unbeknownst to me, there was another stego in the area. He walked up right after I grabbed that allo, but I didn't notice him because I had my headset off. And Peep, well, he came out of the water and the stego had noticed him. So Peep went up in that bush where you see him there. And after about 10-15 minutes of deliberation, the stego finally felt safe enough to come to the water for a drink. Probably couldn't imagine that there was another large Deinosuchus in this pond. I mean, he gave it a solid 10 minutes of watching Peep sit in that bush. Peep was basically on red water, so it was the perfect timing, and this food would allow us to continue to grow and get Peep past that 10.5 ton ungrabbable threshold. And then the next day, during a rainstorm, we had 2 carnos come up. And as you can see, we had a Beppy buddy in the pond, convincing them that it was safe. And so, we executed a perfect double grab. But anyway, that's gonna be where we wrap it up this week. Unfortunately, after I logged off of this session, Petits re-implemented the forced entombing dino rule. So now, the next time you guys see a video on this croc will be my last play session. I'm going to wait until I have a day where I can spend the entire day on this croc to take full advantage of it. We will either go down fighting or we will entomb this guy. Had a couple people request to see an entombed run on the Deinosuchus, and honestly, it's not something I've ever been too keen on doing because, I mean, hey, when you're 13.5 tons, that's all that matters. Mutations really don't matter a ton unless you're specifically playing solo all the time. But since that rule's made its return, I figure this will be the perfect time to finally do my first fully entombed Deinosuchus. So be sure and tune in next week. We'll see just how far we make it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time, and happy hunting.